Hi, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Tea Love. We're your hosts. I'm Brittany.
I'm Ari.
And I'm Jasmine.
And this is
Tea Love. So you're probably wondering why we are dressed this way, but today is Black Fae Day.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably wondering what it is. What is Black Fae Day? Is it the first?
Yeah, it's definitely the first one organized by, I do not know her name precisely.
We will find out and
exactly.
Give her credit.
Yeah, exactly, definitely. But she let out, I believe, a tweet.
Yes.
And to her community, the Black Fae community,
Basically
and
just
not
like,
knowing that it was going to become
it
something
was
that
more
it
of a,
is
like,
now.
Let's do this thing because we don't get as much
coverage as
Yeah,
needed.
we don't get seen.
So I know everybody's probably wondering what Black Fae Day is, and Ari's probably the best person to explain it.
How are we doing today? No. So, Fae Day is basically just, this big, I guess, explanation of how we go throughout these fantasy type of communities. A lot of people identify as Fae. Some people love the Fae community, and that's something that they wanted to be a part of. You have, fairies, pixies, orcs, wolves, vampires, so many different types of fantasy creatures. I mean, look at The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, those types of creatures. Harry Potter, yeah. So it was just really a day about giving light to these different types of communities and these different things that we actually love to be a part of. I mean, I know I was always into this ever since I was a kid. Definitely. Disney princesses, loved villains. I loved being in the midst of stuff. I mean, Lord of the Rings is my favorite movie. It's my favorite book. So
we're about to get into some things.
Yes,
we're about to hit the pinnacle of what's inside.
Because they think we don't do
I don't know about you guys, but when preparing the look for Fae Day, normally Faes have fairy-like ears, little pointy ears, which I think you have. Yes. And when doing the research, when it came about that preparations for this day was occurring, I did the research, and you go on Etsy and you go on Amazon, and they have the ears for sale, but it's like not your skin tone color. So then comes like, okay, well, we want these ears, so how do we go about it? Yeah. So before I even joined the Black Fae group on Facebook, shout out to you guys, love you. We joined them, and we found out there were girls on there that were spray painting and foundation, like a whole process,
dyeing
exactly to prepare these ears.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not about to do all of that. I'm sorry, I'm not about to do all of that. I'm type lazy, so I'm Amazon queen. So I wanna and just have it sent to the house. So I literally was looking. No one had it.
Yeah.
So I found one shop on Etsy that offered the option that was somewhat close to my skin range, and I had to pay extra.
Yeah.
So you have the ears for a Caucasian person that was $10 for the set, and I gotta pay $12 to have one dyed for me. That's not even my skin tone.
Exactly.
My skin tone. So in addition to doing that, paying shipping and handling, I now have to take it and do the work, and I'm like, no. So then there's the alternative option of having a bedazzled one, similar to what you have, or
jewels,
metal or anything to make the look that you want.
Yeah.
So I found that was a very common problem, not just for me, but the girls in the group that we joined, and I know for you guys as well too. And it was a very big problem.
I mean, the ears that I actually got, none of them actually matched my skin tone. So the only way to make them work would be foundation, because I found out about the option to dye them too late.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can do really is just get that foundation going, maybe a little bit of eyeshadow. That's what one of our friends actually did.
Exactly.
She actually used her eyeshadow palette to actually put it together, and it came out really great.
And I feel when coming to these things, why is it that we have to go
the extra mile?
The extra point. Exactly. So I know I know a lot of people are probably looking at us and it's like, oh, they're just in cosplay. Cosplay is something completely different. Cosplay is something completely different level of everything, and I feel like
totally get into it.
exactly. But I feel even when you do that, you still have to go about going the extra yard to do stuff, and I feel like that seems to be a common problem with minorities, because there's not enough representation for us.
Exactly.
There's the personification that we don't do these things.
We don't.
This is
and that's what
white activity
or
about.
Asian activity.
Yes. Asian community, white community, Black people. They just don't do that. And that, I don't know about you guys, but that was like a big thing for me growing up. I was called white for liking anime. I was called white. I was called a lot of people were like, oh, you might as well slant your eyes like an Asian because you like anime.
What?
Yeah, girl.
Yeah, girl.
You like,
first of all,
let's get into this.
What?
Yeah, like they were you know, you might as well slant your eyes. You like, why you like anime? That's like for white people. Black people don't do that. And I'm like, what am I supposed to like? Like, all I want to do is watch my Dragon Ball Z in peace and solitude.
Black people don't do that. Have y'all ever heard of Wu-Tang? That's all they were into.
Have you heard of it?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So I'm just like, I don't understand
That's crazy.
what it was, and I don't know what you guys' experience was, but mine growing up was of that. Like, my mother introduced me to all forms of cartoons. So like, we used to get up Saturday morning, watch Power Rangers and Yu-Gi-Oh and everything, Pokemon. And then she would bring in like the oldie, He-Man, Gargoyles, and anything like Pink Panther. So I was in a household where it was accepted. So like, to me, it was okay until I went to school. And I was like, oh, I remember I had a show and tell. I had show and tell, and I brought in a printout. It wasn't necessarily like a show and tell. It was like present something that you like. And I had a printout of Vegeta. Right? I had a printout Vegeta, and I used to draw in color at the time. So like, I had him in like regular clothes and stuff, and everything was like, oh, that's so stupid. What is that? And I was like, why don't you know who this is? I'm like, where have you been? Have you been on the? So then I remember after doing that Vegeta drawing, I bought something that I felt was more common, Sailor Moon.
Yeah. Oh God.
I was like, I know.
Everybody know what Sailor Moon is.
Like, everybody has to know what Sailor Moon is.
I for sure know. I loved Sailor Moon.
Yes, I used to have little dolls. The little
I
action
know
dolls.
I had my little
I don't
Yeah,
know
me
about
too.
you guys, but I was convinced that me and Tuxedo Mask was gonna get married. I was convinced, and then I knew that
I wasn't worried about that part. I just wanted to be Sailor Moon. I was doing the intro. I was doing the intro.
Girl.
I was coming to life. I was changing into my outfit. I
felt like you know, the equivalent. Like, I've never been a girl who liked dolls.
Okay.
So when I watched anime and I saw like you know, anime guys, I was like, oh, that's that's like the equivalent to a girl having a Ken doll to me. So it was just like, oh, Tuxedo Mask. Oh, I want Goku.
Oh my god.
Oh, I want Shishomaru.
So you just wanted action figures.
That for real, for real. Like, so that was what it was. So like,
funny because if people would think that we don't have action figures, but I surely was one. I had Xena action figures. I had from WWE, was it China? I had action figures. And I used to just be in my room. They used to be battling each other. Like, you don't walk in at the wrong moment because somebody getting hit.
But I didn't even have necessarily like girl things. Like, I had like action figure G.I. Joe doll, like, and all of these things. So like, to me, that was common. Like, my parents never were like, oh, you can't do this because this is for like white people. So it became like a shock to me when I entered like school and everybody was just like, that's for like white people, you're black. And like, because I spoke proper English and everything, it was just consistent teasing. So it led to me, you know, who used to have a lot of graphic tees and everything like that. And let me tell you, that changed, but in adulthood. But as I was younger, I just like hid it because I was like, I don't want to be teased for it. I'm already teased for being short. I'm already teased. Like, you know, like, so, like, I don't want to be teased for something that's joyous to me. So like I kind of conceded in myself and I kind of hid it. So it became something like if someone brought it to me, I'm like, oh, okay, friend.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
hi. Like, hi, friend. And then after that, it was like to myself completely. It was something to share between me, my mom, my sister, and my dad.
The same thing like the process that we have to go through for Faye Day. The process is the same kind of sort of with cosplay. When
Definitely.
you go to as some if you guys know may or may not know, like Comic-Con.
And
this
this
Comic-Con
There's so many different cons.
Yeah,
There's a lot of Dragon Con, San Diego Con. There's another. There's a multiple.
Yeah.
There's Wakanda Con.
Yes, oh my god, sorry.
Yeah.
It's Wakanda. Okay. So it's just it. There's so much, and a lot of people also associate. When I remember the first time I went to Comic-Con, a lot of people were like, "Why do you want to?"
Why
do that? Like that's like the dumbest thing ever. But I'm like, yeah. And then when you go there, it's such a supportive atmosphere, at least to me. But I remember there are people who I've read who have not had a positive experience.
Yeah, and that's because for whatever reason, it's always taken like you said, it's always considered white or Asian. So anytime we cosplay as anything, it's like, oh, that character's not supposed to be black. Well,
in my head, it is.
Why can't I do this cosplay as a character I like? I'm not trying to be anything other than this character that I absolutely identify with or love.
Exactly.
In whatever way, shape, or form.
Exactly. So I just don't understand how you're going to tell me I can't be, let's take for instance Raven from Teen Titans.
Yeah.
She is purple. Like, dare I say maybe gray. But I can't play her because I'm black. Who told you she's white?
Exactly.
Like, who told you that
but
she's
that's
white?
also like, there's a lot of young kids who, like, for instance, looked up to Black Panther, and not all of them are black.
But we don't talk about that.
Yeah. Why is that a problem?
That's like the same thing about the video I came across Instagram one time about the little boy. He wanted to be Naruto.
Yeah.
And he, oh god, gives me chills. He felt bad. Like he was like, no, he didn't feel bad. He was so proud to be Naruto.
Yeah.
Like he was like how he was getting teased for being Naruto. Like, but like what?
And this is a child.
A child, like a little kid. He don't look and thing about kids too. They have innocence where they don't see color. Some of them don't unless their parents teach them that way. But they don't see color. So to them, this is a character like what we were talking about when we was a child. We just saw, oh, I like this. I want to watch this. I want to be this person.
It comes down to it that fantasy is like music and art. You cannot limit it to a race. Yeah. You cannot limit it, period. Mm-hmm. So it can belong to anybody. So if it is a fantasy character, an anime character, just because the person who created the show portrayed it as whatever color, whatever minority, doesn't mean it's an untouchable thing.
Yeah.
So I know that there's like the defense of like, okay, take the Boondocks for instance. Mm-hmm. One of the blackest shows in existence. One of the blackest shows in existence. So I remember Comic-Con I went to a couple years ago. This girl, she tanned her skin, braided cornrows in her hair, and had her white beater on, and she was being Riley. Sis, no one told you cannot be Riley. Yeah. But what you not finna do is tan your skin.
Yeah.
You can be Riley without tanning your skin. Exactly. You can be a character without black facing. That's not the same. A black person, when they play a character, we don't dye ourselves. Yep. Unless the character, like I said, like exactly. Like Raven has a color.
Blue.
Yeah, exactly.
So those two comparisons don't make any sense to me.
Look, if someone like, for instance, and this is kind of sort of off the realm, but still in it, Halloween one year, Miley Cyrus dressed as Nicki Minaj. She ain't color nothing.
Exactly.
You knew who she was based off of the outfit, based off the exaggeration, but she made sure that she stayed true to who Nicki was without tanning her skin, painting her, like, you don't have to do that. We know who you are.
Yeah. We're not trying to make it seem like a negative or like anything. It's just that when it comes to certain things, when it's a black thing, you don't have to change your skin color. We don't do that. So why do you do that? And that's the problem. That's why we get upset about certain things.
Get upset about anything that we do in general.
But that also brings it back due to our group that we joined in for Black Fae Day.
Yeah.
I remember that you saw a post.
Yes. Oh my God.
From the some, I don't know if she's random or she's in the group.
I'm not too sure if she was random. I don't know if it's, I'm gonna insert it somewhere, but I think she messaged the group or something or somebody, and they talked.
Would she have said anything if it was being real? If it was someone that was white? No. You know, would you have said that at all? Because people have been doing this for a long time. This isn't the first time.
And that's the thing. I feel sorry. Oh, I got a little because I feel like it's always that people say like we as like the minority community always bringing up something. Y'all always bring, but it didn't just start it today. It's been going on for so long. So now we're speaking up and saying our truth, and it's just like, oh my God, you guys always have something going on. Y'all so sensitive.
My thing is that the group itself was formed so that we can find a community. There's no community. Any black person could be like how I was and think like anime and stuff isn't like.
It's not just for like us. It's for kids as well. Like so that like the little Brittany can be able to feel like she has accepted. The little Ari, little Jasmine can feel like they are accepted, and I feel like what Britt went through, where she closed in herself because she felt like, oh my God, if I do this, I'm considered this a white. No, it's for all the little girls and all the little boys that feel like we can do this.
The whole day in itself.
Yes.
What's to find community? We don't have any community. All we have to do is look up to characters, and in media, anime, regular cartoons, animation period. How often do you see a black character that doesn't have a negative narrative to them at all whatsoever? There's no positive narrative. And that's why, girl, when Black Panther came out, we showed the
Surely did.
Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman.
Yes.
We showed the hell up because there's very rare that you see a positive black character in media that doesn't have
like that.
And the positive black community as well, because you can see a black character, and what happens to that black character? They moved out and went to another community, and then when they come back to their home, it's a whole different thing. No, in this movie, they had him, and his community was powerful and
that's
positive.
Going through just everything based off of the
yes,
for that. Like everything in the comics for that.
Like, I feel like with Black Panther, right? That awarded the aspect of we saw ourselves as royalty.
Yes.
We saw ourselves not having to go through struggle. I feel that media feeds into black stereotypes. So there's always going to be an angry black woman. There's always going to be a thug. There's always going to be a criminal. There's always going to be the black best friend that's supposed to be for the betterment of the white character. There's the also the servant, like the help or whatever the case is. And it's also, I read one time, the magical best friend, the one that's like, you know, has some form of magic that's supposed to benefit the main character. So like we don't really, and there's also the running black joke that like if there's a black character in a show, they ain't gonna survive till the end. There's only one person, LL Cool J. In that shark movie.
Didn't Buster survive in Halloween?
Did he?
I think he did. I know.
But who did it first though?
I guess L.
Oh, see? Exactly. Oh, and Ice Cube in Anaconda.
Yes.
Ice Cube and like the narrative itself just needs to change. There needs to be a change. It needs to be originality in characters. Like the black character doesn't always need to die. A black character doesn't always need to have a struggle. And we're very versatile, which as of today proves. Black Fae Day in itself proves that black people have originality. There's a capability of creating new characters, broadening the imagination, and not killing us off every 5 seconds. And
that we genuinely love being a part of this community.
Exactly. Hallie as the new black Ariel. How do you ignore how beautiful she sings? She sings so beautifully.
Yes.
But you can't get past the color of her skin. The situation dealing with the controversy of Haley becoming the Black Mermaid. It seems very clear that the problem isn't the fact that a black person is capable of playing the character. It's the fact that nobody wants them to play those characters.
They become so used to, the character doesn't look like that. The character, who's to say that they can't or don't, like that person's imagination brought them this way, but someone else's imagination when they drew it could have made them look this way instead. I don't I understand the issue.
I feel like with Disney on the whole, Disney has had a big problem with representation, and they're making grounds to try and correct it.
Yeah.
I think in terms of fairies, well, what do we know about Tinkerbell?
And the fake, it's not a fake cartoon, I don't know, but the cartoon with like there was only like one black fairy, and again, the best friends, was she the best friend to Tinkerbell or something like that?
So maybe.
See, exactly like you were talking about. I have not seen one black fairy.
Never.
From when with natural hair, with nothing that was original. I've seen people like, you know,
make their own, but never anything that's actually represented.
And I was like searching, and I would search for it because I want to see someone that looked like me as a fairy. And I was like, okay, what do you do? And then that's the same thing I was saying earlier about the little girls and the little boys that want to look and see something that look like them.
That's why we do this.
Yes, to show that you can do this too.
Exactly.
Like when we went to Comic-Con, you notice how small the representation is, how there's almost no representation.
Definitely.
I dressed up and I was just in shock of how often everyone was asking
And she
me
just
for
wore a
photos.
simple Halloween costume.
Like, and you know, it was great for me because I was Poison Ivy. That's who I wanted to be. I love a good
wow.
villain.
She
did
loved it. She
I
loved
love a
it.
good villain. Like I had so much fun, but it was just like, picture, another picture,
It was just constant pictures, constant pictures.
photos. And then I kind of looked around and I was like, I do see other people that look like me that are cosplaying, but I also noticed there's not as many. Like some girl came as oh my gosh, what's the little witch with the cat that Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh my goodness, I remember
she
her.
had this big afro, and it was the cutest thing I'd ever seen. I love Kiki's Delivery Service, like, and I didn't expect to see that.
And
so
I think that's what I
good.
love about Comic-Con, because you see characters on TV, and to you, I feel like when you love anime truly, and you love cartoons truly, and anything in the fantasy world, you never focus on race.
No.
So I would watch Harry Potter, and I'm like, I never focus on the fact that Hermione's white, Ron is white, Harry's white. You just love the world. When you watch Lord of the Rings and you watch Legolas, you focusing on those arrows just shooting pew, pew, all over the place. Like when you watch Star Wars, you're not focused on like there's only one black Jedi who was badass, by the way, and the only one with a purple saber.
That's the one I like.
That's it. Like
No
you
shit.
don't focus on that at all whatsoever. Even though low key, all he had to do was be nice to Anakin.
Yeah,
and
right, you know.
kind of caused everything. But it's just we're being real. But you never focus on race when you love those things. You just focus on the aspect of being included in that realm.
That
So
moment
like
and
when
that-
you go to Comic-Con and you see somebody played, like you said, Kiki's Delivery Service. We saw somebody with a big head of Huey Freeman. And then you turn the corner and you see people from Naruto. You see people from My Hero Academia. You see people from my Dragon Ball Z.
There was one girl who she came as the female Flash. I follow her.
That's
Black
lit.
girl. She
Sorry.
came as the female Flash.
Sensei Cutie Pie, I think it's
I
her
think
name.
so,
Love her.
and it was just like it was awesome because it's like here you are, this black woman, and you're doing a gender bend. Like that's so.
That's
dope.
the next thing too.
Yes,
That's the next thing too.
Yeah.
That you can. There's no that, and it goes back to what I said. There's no limiting anime in the fantasy world to race, gender. It's limitless. Like so, you can do whatever you want to, and I feel like when you try to include the aspects of race and stuff, you complicate things and you take away from the magic of it.
So like a show that did like a good job of really kind of shaking the table on that was Once Upon a Time.
Yes,
They did a great job of that because they
I
really
love that show.
there were so many characters who we traditionally saw them in this aspect,
And they
then
just
completely
flipped it.
Not only the stories, but what they look like. Like Cruella, you know, even Ursula, like all of these different people. So you that wasn't what you saw
now.
But I feel also too, going back to Disney, we had, like we mentioned earlier, Black Panther. So that was all we had from Disney. But everybody also forgets Falcon from the Avengers. Because while he's in the Avengers, he becomes like this minuscule character that, bounces off of Bucky. and Steve and everything. So you know, like he kind of disappears. But recently, Disney, you know, launched out Marvel shows back to back to back.
Yeah.
So recently there was the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. I feel like you should have at this time, so that's the only reason I'm addressing this. But spoiler alert, the show in itself does also start off with him. He's this Avengers. You expect, like, you know, in your head, like, they got money. Like, they just saved the world from Thanos and everything. He comes home and he realizes that his house is being at risk for being sold and foreclosed. They're about him and his sister are about to lose everything that the parents worked for.
And it's because,
exactly. So that
for 5 years, everybody's been gone. So now when they come back, there's no security, and there's absolutely no security for him.
Yeah, and he's a black man. When the show was presented, I expected, like, oh, okay, it's gonna be all about, you know, Steve and
me too.
And they're gonna be missing Steve and everything like that. But the show took a complete The show took a complete bypass. I love Bucky. I've always loved Bucky as a Winter Soldier, and I love their play with each other. And they Sebastian Stan. I'm mad we keep calling him Bucky. His name is Sebastian Stan.
It is Sebastian Stan. It is.
But yeah, it turns into this thing where it addresses race in America. Yeah. And within the show, you find out that Bucky isn't the only Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And there was a black Winter Soldier before everybody, before Steve, and his entire history was erased. Yeah. So we all know at the end of the Avengers, whoever has seen Endgame.
Okay. Yep.
You need to see Endgame.
Moment of silence.
If you haven't, where have you been? Are you under a rock? Are you Patrick?
All right. Hours of your life, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, but we know at the end of the Endgame, Steve passes away. He's an old man, and he gives the shield to
he gives it to
Falcon. So so he gives it to Falcon, and that's how the show starts off. And you know, he says it feels like it belongs to somebody else. And so, black man, you don't want that type of responsibility.
But it was
that's Captain America,
because he made it very clear. He was like, "Well, it doesn't. It's yours.
It's yours." And he's so pure that, you know, Steve didn't think about the aspects that's addressed in Falcon. Yeah. And you have to come to the understanding that he's talking about, all right, I'm about to take up a mantle of Captain America, a country that doesn't love me, that's killing my own kind. Yeah. And it's addressing all of those stuff in the show. So you come back now and you find a Winter Soldier, and he's pissed that, you know, this man's history was completely erased. You're underneath the impression that Steve is the first successful black Winter Soldier that wasn't affected by the serum the way that Bucky. Pure, everything good that represented it. So on top of that, and this man's like, you're retarded if you think you're gonna take up the shield and become Captain America. But long story short, he ends up taking up the shield and becoming Captain America. So there's a scene at the end after with the bad guys and everything. They were like, oh, are you Black Falcon? Are you Black Captain America? And then somebody's like, no, that's just Captain America. That's what it is. And he comes in and he gives this Martin Luther King Obama-like speech, and I'm like, yes! Like, show them. So the aspect of the show changes the narrative in some way, but we also have to see that, you know, it still dealt with the struggle.
His son.
Yes, I saw it.
His son found out that he was going, like, I saw him get that shield, and kind of was like, you know, like, Dad, are you gonna be Captain America? And it's like for his son to see that.
Exactly.
Goes back to when I talk about the kid.
It's for his son to see that moment, and then like not realizing, him saying that his son came back to him later crying, like, oh my God, we're your Captain America, like. I didn't realize how big this was.
Exactly, and you don't realize it. Like, to you, it's just like, oh, they're just acting in a movie. They're just doing it for a paycheck. But nowadays, in this time, kids need to see role models. So that's why Black Panther was a success.
And that's why a lot of things, kids watch, what do we do with kids? We put them on the TV. We let them watch cartoons. We let them read comic books. We let them do that. We show them toys and everything. What is toys based off? Disney characters. Marvel characters, anime characters, that's what they're based off. So if we have black, brown, in between, whatever you may call it, children, and if they don't see themselves, where do they feel that they can relate to? So in my mind, when we as adults get together and do things like this, because and kids can do this too as well, but we as adults sit down and have these discussions, I look at it as more than just us. You know, it's bigger than us. This is the first. Hopefully, I hope Fayday goes like world
this.
beyond
It's not just
this
a day. It's not a
because
day.
it's not, to me, I look at it as way more important because like the little back to it I said before, the little Brittany or the little Ari or the little me that felt like, okay, I'm weird because I like this, or I'm weird, I like that.
There's nothing weird about
it. It's to show you there's nothing weird about it. Or the adult version of us that, because there's people that probably look at us and be like, y'all adults, and why are you guys dressing up? Because that's another controversy that I came across as well.
Especially like sometimes family members.
Yes,
too.
you know, like some cosplay people, like for anime, you know, they get a little frisky and outfits and things.
Well, you know, that's how the character is. So you have a character where her boobs are out and you know her butt is out. She only has on a little bustier or whatever it is.
And the other issue for that too is, although it's like that, anytime we do something like that, it's more risky because
she's vulgar.
Our body.
Let me tell you something. I'm not about to apologize for having curves and an ass.
That's another subject. We're about to get on that.
I'm not about to apologize for having curves and stuff. If you want to be built like SpongeBob, love SpongeBob. But if you want to be built like SpongeBob, that do you, boo. But if I put something on and you're blaming me and telling me it's inappropriate just because I have a D cup and I have an ass and I have curves and everything, but you praising somebody else that don't got nothing, but they're like, she's doing it and she's wearing the same costume I'm wearing.
Does have the same, but it's just sometimes it's just a difference.
Let's get into it.
Sometimes let's be honest. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes that's what it is.
You don't got no more tea, sister. Drink your blueberry.
Obviously, who's the one who likes their tea the most?
Actually, it's me, but you know, I'll sip and it's good.
Should be go.
I do. I don't even know. Like, on some real, because it tastes really good to me, and I'm like, oh, I did good. I did good this time. Oh, by the way, I am the tea maker
the connoisseur of the tea making.
On the tea.
Ching ching.
I feel like Faye Day is, I'm going to be completely honest, is a starter of something
of
big.
A movement.
Yes. Yeah. I really hope that Black Faye Day, please, because I got to be precise, Black Faye Day starts a whole movement and people see us beyond just
and that's something that
a color, just imitation. We're trying to imitate something, just to accept that people in the Black Faye community, this is what they do. Some of them live like this every day. This is their go-to. This is their event. This is where
there's no turn off.
That's how they dress.
Like we partake in it.
Yeah.
Here and there, but me, I have my graphic tees every single day. My graphic tee collection is.
And I'm a little bit whimsical all the time.
And you're whimsical. Like her car is damn near Halloween Town. And this one,
I don't know.
They're like basically entering,
purple.
you know how Alice in Wonderland just falls down the rabbit hole? Yeah. And both of them are like that. And I have my graphic tees and I'm still watching my anime and everything. Yeah. It's not something that we're trying to do to trend.
Yes.
No.
This is who we are.
The same way that a white person sitting in front of that thing gaming. The same way they're trying to find those links to find the right anime, the right movie and everything, because we're so hyped. The same way we're buying tickets because the latest Dragon Ball Z movie.
I bought tickets to go see Dragon Ball Z.
I was one of 3 girls, but me and the next 2 girls were even louder than the rest of the dudes in the movie theater.
I think I was the only girl.
Yeah, see?
Because I did look around the movie theater and I was like, no, this just boys. Oh, right. Shout out to me.
Yeah, it's something that's just who we are. Yeah. It's not something that's forced. It's not something that we can control. And I need people to see that. Like, it's just because we're black doesn't mean that we're limited to black cartoons, which in itself is limited. I can literally, like, there is a list of black characters.
Yep. We were talking about, what were we talking about one earlier? Princess Tiana?
Girl.
Yes.
Afro Samurai.
Yes. Oh, God.
Let this be addressed. That Piccolo
is black.
You know, it's an unspoken truth. Piccolo is black from Dragon Ball Z.
I don't care.
He might be green, but he is black.
He is.
Okay? The only black character that y'all think is in Dragon Ball Z is Mr. Popo, and now he's blue. Piccolo is black. Okay?
All right.
Piccolo is black.
Okay.
I don't even want to hear anything. The discussions end.
One
After
more time.
Piccolo is black.
There she said it again.
And Goku is a deadbeat father. Love him.
Oh, God. All right. We should pause it right there. We're not going to get into him because, bruh.
Guy either dead training. He just leaves.
He disappeared.
He asked Vegeta why he gotta stay for Bulma giving birth. Like, I'm gonna make it make
But
sense.
yes, to wrap this all up
Again.
in a teacup.
In a teacup.
There needs to just be more portray of the black community and the minority community. Okay, it doesn't just have to be African American. Be all. When I say minority, I mean minority. Y'all know what it means. If not, look it up. Of characters and everything, so that our little ones can feel accepted and feel like, okay, me too. I see me on screen. We as adults can finally be like, yes, okay, it took us forever to get here. So we're not trying to stop the separation. Put us together.
Inclusion.
That's just it is what it
that's
is.
all it needs to happen.
It doesn't need to be
diversity,
The point
and stop killing our characters because we can make a series bomb as hell.
We can, and don't hate.
And just to say, the point of today absolutely was to remind y'all that we're here.
Reminder.
Well, that's all it was. It's just a reminder.
We are here.
Simple.
We enjoy it.
We see
We
you.
do
Do
things.
you see us? We see you.
Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed our show. Please come back and join us for our next episode as we discuss the ins and outs of friendship. I hope everyone had a good time, and shout out to our Black Faith community. I hope everyone is enjoying this beautiful day and embracing each other and living out their best fantasies.
Please like, subscribe, comment below in the section, and share this throughout everyone. And I hope you have a great day.
And till next time, we wish you love, peace, and a great cup of tea.